let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're putting on our culinary detective hats to uncover a fascinating, hidden truth that's probably sitting right inside your baking pantry at this very moment. We're taking a really close look at a staple ingredient that almost all of us have in our kitchens, but honestly, very few of us actually understand. So, let's kick things off by challenging a massive assumption we all kind of make every time we stroll down the baking aisle. You know the drill. When we see that rustic, golden, clumpy brown sugar, we just naturally assume that its appearance means we're buying something raw, unrefined, and, I don't know, somehow closer to the earth than stark white sugar. But is that actually true?
Well, here is the big secret. The vast majority of commercial brown sugar you buy at the store, it's not unrefined at all. It is almost entirely just highly refined white sugar. Seriously, it's about 95% sucrose, with just a tiny, literal spray of molasses, only around 3.5 to 6.5% by volume, added back in at the very end of the industrial process just to give it that color. It's essentially a manufactured illusion of being unrefined.
Section 1. The 19th Century Smear Campaign, a history of corporate disinformation. To figure out why this illusion even exists in the first place, we actually have to look back to the late 19th century. During this era, the newly consolidated white sugar industry wanted total control of the market, right? But they didn't completely control the production of traditional brown sugar. So their solution was literally a massive smear campaign. They went as far as distributing microscopic photos of harmless microbes that naturally lived in brown sugar just to terrify the public into thinking unrefined sugar was infested and filthy. It was so incredibly effective that by the year 1900, a best-selling cookbook was warning bakers that brown sugar was of inferior quality and susceptible to, get this, a minute insect.
To really give you a sense of just how aggressive this fear-mongering got at the time, brewing expert E.R. Southby wrote back in 1885 that raw sugars must always be considered dangerous brewing materials because of fermentative germs and living organisms. This brilliantly successful propaganda and disinformation campaign completely shifted consumer preference toward refined white sugar and forever changed how our sugar is manufactured globally. Section 2. Commercial versus natural. Deconstructing production.
So the defining difference here comes down to the original plant juices, which producers call the mother liquor. Authentic, natural, whole cane sugar holds on to that original molasses right from the very beginning. Commercial brands, on the other hand, they strip the sugar completely bare in a refinery until it's pure white, only to turn around and artificially mix molasses back in later to mimic the traditional product.
And believe it or not, the white sugar base used in your standard commercial brown sugar can actually come from either tall, leafy sugarcane or from underground sugar beets. Yep, because once that refining process is completely finished, the pure sucrose extracted from either of those plants is chemically identical. You literally can't tell them apart. There's no practical difference in nutritional value, color, or taste.
But there is a bit of a catch when it comes to the molasses they spray back onto that white sugar. Producers specifically use molasses derived from sugarcane, not beets. The flavor of sugarcane molasses is just vastly preferred, and it's exactly what gives commercial brown sugar that distinct, expected caramel flavor we all know and love. So even if the white sugar base came from a beet, that added molasses almost always comes from sugarcane.
Section 3. Global Traditional Varieties. A tour of authentic sugars.
Since the standard commercial stuff is really just an imitation, let's explore the authentic, traditional varieties that actually survived that 19th century smear campaign in cottage industries around the world. We've got Muscovado, which is deeply dark and incredibly moist. Then there's Turbinado and Demerara, which are partially spun in a centrifuge to leave behind these gorgeous, large golden crystals. And you also have minimally processed sugars like Panela and Jaggery. Instead of using highly industrialized vacuum evaporators, these traditional varieties are often boiled in open pans right over wood-fired stoves, relying purely on gravity, time, and centuries of tradition to crystallize.
Oh, and I absolutely love this one. Kokuto. It's an incredibly fascinating, special regional variety of uncentrifuged sugar from Okinawa, Japan. A lot of people call it black sugar because of its deeply dark color, and it has a history going back roughly 400 years. It is so delicious and prized for its rich caramel flavor that it's often eaten entirely raw. It's also used to make shochu liquor, and it's a huge beloved flavoring in Taiwanese bubble tea.
Section 4. Baking Science and Nutrition. Kitchen Hacks and Hard Truths.
All right, let's bring all this history and geography straight back into your kitchen. Have you ever wondered why some cookies are soft and chewy, while others turn into basically crispy bricks? Well, it all comes down to a scientific concept called hygroscopic. Because the molasses in brown sugar is highly hygroscopic, it naturally attracts and retains moisture right out of the air. That is the secret scientific reason your favorite chocolate chip cookies stay perfectly moist and chewy. And the darker the sugar, the more moisture it holds.
And hey, because we now know commercial brown sugar is essentially just a mixture anyway, here is a fantastic life hack for you. If you ever run out mid-recipe, you can easily just make it yourself. Literally, just measure 1 cup of white granulated sugar, add about 1 tablespoon of molasses, and mix it thoroughly. That's it. You can adjust the molasses up or down to make light or dark brown sugar completely customized to exactly what you need.
But as we start wrapping up this culinary investigation, we do need to look at the hard nutritional reality. Despite the earthy name, the rustic color, and that traditional aura, brown sugar is absolutely not a health food. It still packs a pretty hefty 380 calories per 100 grams.
The nutritional breakdown makes it super clear. It's 98% carbohydrates, mostly sucrose, with 0 dietary fiber, 0 fat, and only negligible trace minerals from that tiny bit of molasses. Bottom line, despite the clever marketing and the rustic golden color, it is ultimately processed by your body as empty calories in exactly the same way as pure white sugar.
So, having totally deconstructed this everyday pantry staple in today's explainer, I have to leave you with a question. Now that you know the hidden corporate history and the actual science behind the sweetness, what are you going to reach for? Next time you bake, will you stick with the industrial commercial illusion? Are you curious enough to track down a product like Cucuto or Muscovado and bake with a true piece of unrefined history? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.